Hi, I'm Laurie Beausoleil, and I wanted to talk more about home learning during the time of the coronavirus, when we're home with our kids and able to take time to reflect and learn with them and go slowly and really be interested in listening to each other. It's a great opportunity. So I've been talking in my last couple of videos about not feeling the need to mimic school at home because we don't have a group of kids we have to teach a variety of skills to all at the same time, kind of all in the same way. We're luckier than teachers with big groups of kids, and we have a bit more freedom, a lot more freedom, to really get to know the interests of our children and to share our interests with them too. So regardless of what age of child you have at home, you can really get into a flow of learning together and still keeping up to date with school skills in a way that's really meaningful to you and the kids, and is a way of connecting you and really helping you get to know each other in a more personal way than we do when we're rushing around in our pre-coronavirus daily lives. So just a quick bit about me. I was a teacher. I actually left teaching a bit early just because I was finding it difficult to meet the unique learning needs. I didn't feel that my creativity really was best used with groups. It was hard to do what I wanted to do with each and every child and really connect and attach to each of them. I also had a few years of learning experience before I retired, though, in special education, we called it at the time, working with children that were needing individualized programs of some sort because their learning speed or type or abilities were different. So I'm really fascinated with this topic of individualizing learning and making it really authentic and real life, because that seems to be the way we all learn best. And I also did some years of homeschool learning support. So I worked with families who did homeschool learning and was fascinated with the concept of doing all of this learning during the day, whenever we wanted to do learning experiences, instead of having to fit all the real life experiences in after school. So I guess I know this is a time to pause and reflect on what we really enjoyed about learning and when we learn the best ourselves. If you had a time in school when you felt particularly bored or particularly challenged, then you'll know that there were things that you did not learn as well and that you might have learned temporarily and maybe memorized and then forgotten afterwards. The things that stuck with us were the things that we loved and the things we were fascinated with. And sometimes even just the things our teachers were fascinated with, because when we are attached to someone, we will begin to love what they love in many ways. I remember my favorite teachers and the twinkle in their eye and the excitement when we were learning about things they loved. So when you and your children are learning something together that you also love, the learning will be amazing and it will stick. So I wanted to talk to you today about a few home learning ideas from a real life, authentic perspective, and learning that can happen organically. So I'll give you a few examples, and then if you have any questions, you can contact me or let me know in the comments, and I can maybe take one idea and flesh it out more. But what I'm hoping is I'll give you a foundation of faith in the idea that what you and your children want to learn together, you can let unfold organically. Just before I start, I wanted to say that there's a few resources out there for parents and grandparents who do have that fear about whether or not they're keeping their kids up to date with school skills. And also, of course, not all of us have been trained in which specific skills they're going to be asked to know when they're in school. So there's a series of books, if you're in Canada, that are great. They are available through, unfortunately, the big stores. Chapters Indigo and Amazon, I'm pretty sure, have these. But you can find other things too. Do be a bit careful because some things are geared differently. So this series is called the Complete Smart series. And there's a variety of them: English Smart, Math Smart, Science. There's a Summer Smart to review all of the skills from the year before. This one happens to be grade 2. And you'll notice when you look at it that it's like a workbook style. So something that teachers would definitely use, those kinds of activities in classrooms when they're working with a group. If you need to take a break and you'd like to use one of those worksheets or use it as a springboard for making your own, or if your children are really into doing things like that, like I was when I was a kid, I loved to fill in blanks and do things like worksheets or multiple choice type things or sort of prepared work. If they love it and they want that for a break and you need a break, that's a great thing to do. But I would reassure you that you don't need to do that. You could use that book as just a reference for you to see what kind of things are they teaching, and then maybe use one resource or just use it as a reference or as a reassurance that you are covering the things that your child needs to know when they're back in school. But most importantly, we're learning things that we need for actual life. So I had talked about the Transformers example. If a child loves a certain TV show, such as Transformers, taking their special interest character, printing off scripts from the shows, writing your own plays with them, looking at all of the amazing, highly technical details that are shared in those shows. We talked about this one particular Transformer that was able to become a plane or a hydrofoil or an ATV, and all the amazing things you can learn from that. Wherever possible, especially with young children, don't feel you need to get them to write or read everything themselves. It's all a process, and you can trust that whatever they're really fascinated with and is meaningful to them, they're going to want to write or read as soon as they can. So for the most part, if you have a young child and they want to tell you a story about their favorite character, just grab paper and sit down and scribe for them. Let them tell you the story and you write it down. Don't ask them to stop and write it themselves, because little kids' ideas are amazing and creative, and their hands can't keep up with the speed of their ideas and their brains and their speech telling you all about it. So start out by scribing it all. And every once in a while, if they want to learn to spell a word and you try to get them to notice it and they're interested, then you can do that for sure. Use fridge magnets of letters that you can spell on your fridge, or make it creative with a variety of different shapes you can make into letters. Pipe cleaners, you can use Jell-O on a tray that you've made and have them cut letters out, or you can have them print them with their fingers in whipped cream and lick their fingers afterwards. If you're worried about letter formation or word spelling, you can work it in different ways. But for the most part, just have faith that those things will come. So scribing stories is great. Studying the content of things that fascinate kids is great, like the Transformer example. Doing real life math, cooking, measuring, telling time as a way of getting through your day, showing them the clock and letting them know that when the clock looks like this, we'll be doing this. And they'll start to study the clock and notice either the hands or the digital numbers moving. So lots of things that make it authentic and fun. And you'll notice that the learning is just coming automatically. Several years ago, I worked with a little boy who was struggling in school in grade 1, and he wasn't able to read very simple words like or the because they were meaningless to him. He was an info kid, we called it at the time, a child that was fascinated with content. He would read short books. He would be the person that later on would want to read comic books or science books with little facts and captions under pictures. So don't worry if your child's not wanting to read long fiction stories. You can have them write a fiction story about their favorite thing, and they can read it aloud to you at story time. Even if they don't know all the words, they'll be able to do the pictures and read the story from the picture. With that little boy that I worked with the hockey ideas, we were reading the newspaper at the time and reading all the hockey players' names and words like interference and penalty, and looking at all the numbers of the times when those things happened in the game he'd watched. And I know there's no hockey on right now, but things like that to make it real life, reading, writing, learning, math, science, social studies. There's a variety of different things. And I can talk a little bit more about these ideas in the next video, but I don't want to go too much over 10 minutes. I know you want to keep it short. If you want to think about the philosophy of this more, you can go back to the first intro video and video number 1 to check out the thoughts and ideas that I discussed then. If you've got older kids and you're willing, take the time to really talk to them about the video games they're fascinated with. It's really important that we don't go into judgment about whether or not the things that our kids are interested in are lesser than school things or the things we're interested in. We really have to move forward and allow the kids to teach us where their interests are. And you'll be amazed at the content and the technicality and the complexity, the language they're reading and writing and thinking about when they're participating in those video games. So I know we want to get them away from their screens a little bit, but when they are on their screens, if they're willing to share, it's a great way to springboard the learning. So I hope today's ideas have helped you get going a little bit. I think the most important thing is that we pause and reflect on our own learning. Notice that we can slow it all down, although I talked quickly today because I had a lot I wanted to say in 10 minutes. Really slow it down and really spend time listening with your kids. And we'll talk more in the next video. If you have any questions or you need any individual help, please don't hesitate to comment below or contact me with my email provided. And stay calm. Enjoy your time at home. I know this is difficult. I hope all is well with everyone you love and that you're just home entertaining yourselves. All right, take care. Lots of love to everyone. Bye.